Hello everybody. In this video we'll try to understand some more interesting things of Mrigashira Nakshatra. So Mrigashira Nakshatra, the four padas if you observe, the first pada ranges from 23 degree 20 minutes of Taurus to 26 degree 40 minutes of Taurus. It falls in Leo Navamsha, that means whenever a planet is present in Mrigashira Nakshatra first pada in your base chart or the fundamental horoscope, the same planet will go to Leo in the sign in the Navamsha chart. So Leo Navamsha, Leo means it's ruled by Sun. So basically here this particular pada relates to the fixed and unyielding side of Mrigashira. But it has the ability to express its experiences through creative and artistic activities. So not only this nakshatra of Rohini has the capacity of creation of artistic activities, even Mrigashira first pada also has the capacity of artistic behavior. It has the capacity of creative and artistic activities. And the second pada of Mrigashira Nakshatra, which ranges from 26 degree 40 minutes to 30 degrees of Taurus, it falls in Virgo Navamsha. It's ruled by Mercury. So whenever a planet is present in Mrigashira Nakshatra's second pada, that planet goes to the sign of Virgo in the Navamsha chart. So this particular pada, the Mrigashira Nakshatra's second pada, it basically represents the discriminatory, calculative, satirical and humorous side of Mrigashira. So the conventional acumen and the strong mental ability of Mrigashira is more evident here. So the fusing of the planetary energies of Mercury and Venus takes place here in such a way that the more grounded practical side of Mrigashira is experienced by Mrigashira's second pada. It's a very good pada basically. It has the ability to create, ability to manifest some materialism. So it seems to be a very, very nice pada, Mrigashira's second pada, right? So the kind of mental ability, the kind of conversational acumen are very, very fine. And the third pada of this particular, so before going to the third pada, in the second pada, a very beautiful thing is the amalgamation of Mercury and Venus. Because Mrigashira's second pada is Virgo Navamsha. So whenever there is some Mercury-Venus conjunction, generally we feel like it seems to be a kind of sensitive, but at the same time it's a very, very, very good thing. As it is the Virgo Navamsha, the Mercury is coming into the picture and it is in the sign of Taurus, so Venus is coming into the picture. So Venus and Mercury energies are clubbed. So that is a beautiful thing. That is another beautiful thing of Mrigashira second pada. And Mrigashira third pada, if you observe, it ranges from 0 degrees of Gemini to 3 degree 20 minutes of Gemini. Basically Mrigashira third pada starts Gemini, the Aries sign. So Taurus is basically earthy sign. It has the power to create, it has the power to give some materialism, but whereas Gemini, it is not an earthy sign, it's an Aries sign. Gemini is an Aries sign. Taurus is an earthy sign. Earthy sign can create and give something to you. So basically, Mrigashira third pada falls in Libra Navamsha. So whenever a planet is present in Mrigashira Nakshatra third pada, it goes to the Libra Navamsha. So here again, the sign of Gemini is actually now ruled by Mercury. So previously Mrigashira first and two padas are in the sign of Taurus and Venus is coming into the picture, but here as Mrigashira third pada is in the sign of Gemini, Mercury is coming into the picture, and Mrigashira third pada, it's Mars Nakshatra, and it is falling in the Libra Navamsha where Venus is coming into the picture. So Venus and Mercury, the amalgamation of these two energies, it's a good thing, it's another good thing. But in the Mrigashira Nakshatra third pada, the main emphasis is on sociability and the kind of exploration of the mental side of all types of relationships. So here also you can see the amalgamation of Mercury and Venus is taking place. But this is an airy behavior, right? Gemini is related to airy, it's an airy sign. So airy sign generally it's not much related to material pursuits and material manifestation. Compared to Mrigashira 2, Mrigashira has less material manifestation capacity, but still it has some, right? So earthy signs are very much creative, very much, you can say, they have the power to create, power to manifest compared to airy signs. So Mrigashira 3 is mainly understanding the mental side of all types of relationships and also sociability, as Gemini is all about sociability, but of course has some material manifestation capacity also, but not as great as Mrigashira 2. So the fourth pada, if you observe the Mrigashira fourth pada, ranges from 3 degree 20 minutes of Gemini to 6 degree 40 minutes of Gemini. It falls in Scorpio Navamsha. It's ruled by Mars. Now Mars is coming into the picture. So this pada actually relates to the intellectual, argumentative, suspicious and whimsical part of Mrigashira. So as you reach more core to Gemini, you talk about the intellectual abilities. So this pada is not as superficial as Mrigashira 3. Mrigashira 3 to an extent it's kind of superficial because it is starting that airy behavior. So but this Mrigashira fourth pada, it tends to have more intellectuality, right? So intellectualize the things, intellectualize the concepts. Instead of getting to the root of anything, they intellectualize. So most of the negative qualities of Mrigashira find expression through Mrigashira fourth pada, generally people say. They don't go to the root of anything, they generally intellectualize. The intellectuality of Mrigashira 4 is not a very positive thing, right? So the intellectual, argumentative, suspicious and whimsical behavior, Mrigashira 4 is treated as a kind of negative qualities nakshatra. See, just by the presence of moon in Mrigashira 4, you cannot treat the person completely negative. It's because, other planetary positions also matters, but still, Mrigashira 4 has some kind of negative qualities associated with it, but it can function wisely intellectually, that is also there. But how they use that intellectuality is it's a kind of it's not a very great thing, I would say, right? So it can function wisely only in evolved souls and the low level thinking people, they use that intellectuality for bad things. So, and the intellectuality is also not, they do not go to the root of anything. So Mrigashira 4 is not so very positive, we can say, right? Because as you're reaching uh, more to the core of Gemini, the intellectuality is not so great thing. And if you see Mrigashira energy, artists of all types can have, so in different professions, if you observe the professions related to Mrigashira, where you find Mrigashira energy, as singers, musicians, because Mrigashira 1 and 2 are in the sign of Taurus, it's very creative, right? So the painters, poets, linguists, romantic novelists, writers, thinkers, and seekers. So this is all the Taurus abilities. And gemstone dealers, even the dealers in earth related products, because of that earthy behavior, Mrigashira 1 and 2 basically. And also those involved in the textile and garment industry, because Venusian effect, wherever some Venusian effect is present, you can say textile, garment, fashion designing, these things we always talk about wherever there's Venusian impact. And all professions dealing with animals as pets, salespersons of all kinds because of the Gemini impact, advertising agencies, administrators, landscapers, this is all related to that Gemini behavior. Farmers and gardeners, forestry workers, real estate developers, map makers and navigators, travelers and explorers, psychics and astrologers, because of that Venusian impact, teachers, especially those dealing with beginners, and clerks, commentators, as there is some Gemini impact. So we talk about some clerks and commentators. So this is Mrigashira. Basically Mrigashira 2 is very positive, Mrigashira 4 is to an extent some negative traits you can observe. Mrigashira first is a kind of not much yielding, but it's a kind of creative energy is always present in Mrigashira 1, and Mrigashira 3 is it's starting the Aries sign, so such kind of it is losing that it's only good for understanding the mental side of relationships. It's a kind of social, but it's losing the it's losing the great intellectuality because it's just starting the Gemini. It's a kind of superficial, right? Because of that Mrigashira 3, it's a kind of superficial as well, starting the Gemini, right? And as it's in the sign of Libra Navamsha, it's a Libra Navamsha, so we can see the social behavior always present. So the kind of places that have Mrigashira energy are forests, fields and meadows, deer parks generally, because deers are always related to this forest. It's always related to the symbolism here, fields and meadows, all the stuff. Villages and small towns, bedrooms, playgrounds, nurseries, nursery schools, recreation rooms, entertainment places of all kinds because of the Taurus impact, streets, footpaths, roads, lawns and gardens, forest trails, art and music studios, small shops, markets and other sales places. There's so much of mercurial impact always present, right? Because you can observe the Mrigashira first pada, even though in the Leo Navamsha, the second pada in Virgo, where the merchant behavior is coming to the picture because of that Mercury. And the third pada is starting the Gemini, a small Gemini, the initial behavior of Gemini. So small shops, those things come into the picture because of that mercurial behavior. and as it is in the Libra Navamsha, the business and social activities are also come into the picture. And you can see it is also related to astrological and psychic institutions, because the Mars, that Scorpios come into the picture because of the Mrigashira fourth pada, and Scorpio is a very much hidden sign. It's an eighth sign. It's always related to mystic things, psychic things, astrological things. So you can see, based on the signs they are associated with, you can understand the energy of this particular nakshatra. It's a tamasic nakshatra. It's an inert nakshatra. So it should not be taken in a negative sense, as it is basically it's a deva nakshatra only. It's a divine nakshatra only, but it has that some tamasic behavior because it is associated with tamas because of its association with tamasic planet Mars. So the basic significations of Mars were actually tamasic. So the tamasic nature is associated by that way. And one more thing is the behavior of Mrigashira is something like I can't get no satisfaction. This kind of behavior of Mrigashira is what it is making tamasic. So however, this particular nakshatra, it's actually behave in a tamasic way only if predominantly tamasic planets like Rahu, Mars and Saturn associated with it. Let's say Rahu, Mars and Saturn, they are tamasic in behavior. So whenever Rahu or Mars or Saturn are sitting in Mrigashira, that actually clearly manifests the tamasic abilities of Mrigashira. So it's basically it has the ability to produce the things. It has the ability to create, especially Mrigashira 1 and 2. When the Mrigashira 1 is not much yielding, Mrigashira 2 is more creative in nature. It has more manifestation power. So it's a divine nakshatra. So this is one of the divine nakshatras, you can say, and it is a level nakshatra also. So you can see it's a level nakshatra because of the fact that Mrigashira is not an extreme energy and stays within limits. So there is no much harm because of Mrigashira energy people, you can say. Right? Even we thought Mrigashira 4 was a bit negative, but still that negativeness is okay because it's not an extreme energy. They can stay in their limits. Is always trying to achieve a balance between expansion and contraction. So there is always a balance. So no problem, you can say. And it is a soft nakshatra because of that deer association. So Mrigashira is more suitable for seeking and enjoying pleasure on all planes of existence. Basically, that is a fundamental behavior of Mrigashira. And its pursuit of knowledge always, it also takes place in an easygoing and enjoyable fashion. Right? This is a very, very soft nakshatra. And Mrigashira is actually related to the first half of the lunar month of Mrigashira. So the Mrigashira Masa, where generally full moon occurs in Mrigashira, generally, That's how it became Mrigashira Masa. And the first half of the lunar month of Mrigashira Masa is always associated with Mrigashira Nakshatra. So this month usually corresponds to the month of December in the solar calendar, and of course we're going to the Margashira Masa from tomorrow. So this month is also known as Arghayana because of Mrigashira's alternative name, that is Arghayani. Mrigashira is also called as Arghayani. So Margashira Masa is also called as Arghayana Masa. So it refers to an era when this month denoted the start of the year. So in ancient times there were some cultures, or there was a perception that this Margashira Masa, or the December month, actually it denotes the starting of an year. So in the present days, the lunar month of basically the lunar month of Chaitra represents the start of the year. As Chaitra Shukla Padimi we celebrate, that's Ugadi, some people say, right? So Margashira Masa is also related to the Panchami, that is the fifth day, right? Panchami Tithi of the waxing and waning phases of any month. That also has some kind of Mrigashira energy, people say, because it has the power to create and all the stuff. So generally favorable for all light-hearted activities, right? If you want to perform some auspicious activities on the day of Margashira Masa, the Mrigashira Nakshatra, on the day of Mrigashira Nakshatra, any light-hearted activities, light-weighted, or because it's very tender and soft nakshatra because of its association with deer. So especially good for travel, exploring nature, sightseeing, sexual activity, all types of artistic work, healing and rejuvenation practices, all those things you can perform on the day of Mrigashira. So commencing educational ventures, and also excellent for socializing, changing residence, also it's good. So good for all activities requiring communication, good for setting up altars, religious items, and performing spiritual initiations, good for advertising and sales activity, and also taking a new name, right? For taking a new name also it's good. It's not a very bad nakshatra, even though it has association with Mars, but still it is considered to be a good nakshatra because it's a kind of soft and tender nakshatra. They enjoy, they are humorous, they're a kind of they maintain some social sociality, they maintain friends. So it's very easygoing, soft and light. And generally speaking, inauspicious activities, right, on the day of Mrigashira, that is when moon is in Mrigashira Nakshatra, it's very unfavorable for marriage ceremonies. So Vedic texts reveal that Shiva married Parvati when moon was transiting through this nakshatra, and consequently their marriage went through many upheavals. So it's not, Mrigashira is not considered to be good for marriage. Even Mrigashira people are very, very famous for disrupting their marriage due to some misunderstandings. So it's bad for hard and harsh actions of any kind. Even though Mars is present, it's not at all good for hard activities because a very light and soft nakshatra is not favorable for confrontations or making long-term important decisions of a serious nature. So it's not good for long-term important decisions also, right? So generally it's good for exploring nature, traveling, sightseeing, sexual activity. It's all types of artistic work. It's a decent and lightweight nakshatra. It's very nice, very soft, simply soft you can say. So the main planetary ruler influence in this particular nakshatra is Mars, and also Venus and Mercury. Venus because Mrigashira 1 and 2 in Taurus, and then Mercury for Mrigashira 3 and 4. So Mars is the main ruling planet of Mrigashira totally. So in fact, Martian energy comes into being through Mrigashira because Mrigashira is the first nakshatra of Mars, then Chitra, then Dhanista. So Mars is the source basically. So that provides energy for Mrigashira's search, Mrigashira's seeking. So Mars here acts as an impulse planet which encapsulates all the meanings associated with the word desire. So when you talk about Mars, you talk about desire. You talk about some kind of passionate initiation. So previously we discussed, right, the Kritika and Rohini. So Rohini is the pure earth formation. So how the original creative fires that are represented by the sign of Aries solidifying to the earth element represented by the sign Taurus. Aries to Taurus transformation, right? Aries is fire and Taurus is earth. Especially Kritika is fire to earth transformation. And then finally you see earth and the sign of Rohini. So in Mrigashira, these creative fires, which are now encased in an earthy material shet, try and mobilize matter. So initially earth began in sign of Aries, Kritika, and then the fire is settling down in the sign of Taurus, the Kritika 2, 3, 4 padas, and then finally it became earth, the Rohini is completely in the heart of Taurus, the middle of Taurus, which is an earthy sign, and Rohini is pure form of creation. It's the power to create just like earth, and now you got the earth ready, but inside the earth you have that fire running on. So the creative fires, so Mrigashira is that creative fire which is now in the earth, right? So one way to understand this is to take a look at how modern day automobiles function, right? So the average car is heavy metallic object which is incapable of moving on its own, as movement is only possible due to the fire based internal combustion engines. So the engine is responsible for moving the car, but the car is just like a material object, just like Rohini, right? And in the same way, the Martian energy here becomes the force that drives matter, and that is actually instilling some kind of life into it. Now the earth is settled down, but inside the earth you have the fire. That is Mrigashira. So Mrigashira forms a bridge between Taurus and Gemini, and it relates to the fusing of Mercurial and Venusian energies, right? So the fusion of Mercurial and Venusian you can always see, because Mrigashira's second pada goes to the Vargunavamsha, where Mercury is coming into the picture, whereas in Mrigashira second you have that Venusian effect. Mrigashira 3, if you see, it has the Mercurial effect because of the Gemini, and then Mrigashira 3 actually associated with Libra Navamsha, which is Venusian. So here again, so the kind of clear amalgamation or fusion of Venusian and Mercurial energies takes place here. So it is interesting to note that besides Chitra, which is 14th Nakshatra, and Dhanista, that is 23rd Nakshatra, Mrigashira is the only Nakshatra which lies equally divided among two signs. So, of course, see, all Martian Nakshatras, they act as bridge between, they basically act as a bridge between earthy and airy signs. So the 14, 23 and then Mrigashira, 14th is Chitra and then 23rd is Dhanista. So besides Chitra and Dhanista, Mrigashira is the only nakshatra which lies equally divided among two signs. All Martian nakshatras behave this way. They equally divided among the two signs. Especially they equally divided among the earthy and airy signs. You see, Mrigashira is equally divided between this Taurus, which is an Earthy sign, and the Gemini, which is an Aries sign, and then Chitra, which is in the sign of Virgo, which is an Earthy sign. So Chitra 1, 2 are in Virgo, and 3, 4 are in Libra, which is an Aries sign, and then Dhanishta 1, 2 are in Capricorn, which is the peak of Earthy sign, and then it's the 3, 4 are in the sign of Aries, that is Aquarius. So Mrigashira has a strong sense of duality about it, as it tries to resolve the conflict between earth and air, two naturally incompatible elements. So Venus relates to the more earthy behavior, that is Taurus part of this nakshatra, and Mercury relates to the airy part, that is Gemini part of this nakshatra. So all the desirable qualities of Mrigashira, like its artistic abilities and just for life ability to find the true life path or purpose, all come about only when the energies of Mercury and Venus are properly merged. So it is a saying in astrology, something like the person who has this Mercury and Venus amalgamation, the fusion of these two energies, that person can really find the true path of life, right? So that's the beauty of Mercury and Venus amalgamation. And it's about seeking. Mrigashira is always about seeking the true path of life and seeking for knowledge. It's basically seeking. That's Mrigashira. So planetary conjunctions like Mars, Mercury, Mercury-Venus, Mars-Venus, and Mars-Mercury-Venus, they all carry similar energies of Mrigashira. So the presence of Mars or Saturn in this nakshatra is usually not auspicious for marital felicity. So if a person has Mars in Mrigashira or Saturn in Mrigashira, it's not good for marital felicity. That person may have some kind of disruptions in the marriage life. So both of them, however, can give good material results in the Taurus part of Mrigashira. In fact, bearing Jupiter, all other planets can usually give good material results in the Taurus part. A Taurus part is very, very creative. So whenever a good planet is present in Taurus, that is especially Mrigashira 2, it's always good. Mrigashira 2, other than Mars and Saturn, if any planet is present in Mrigashira 2, it seems to be very, very good. A sexual animal is a serpent. Mrigashira is one of the experts in lovemaking. In all ancient cultures, snakes or snake-like beings have been regarded as symbols of sexual potency and are seen as adepts at the art of sexual union. It is most compatible with other serpent nakshatra like Rohini. So the most ancient tale relating to the formation of this nakshatra is something like Brahma, the creator among the Trinity, became obsessed with his own daughter, that is Rohini, of course, and you can see he was chasing Rohini in the form of a deer, right? So Shiva, the destroyer among the Trinity, cut the deer's head off with an arrow, and thus the deer head stars of Mrigashira came into being. So if one looks at the relative placements of Rohini, Mrigashira, and Ardra, the nakshatra which is just the Shiva nakshatra, which comes after Mrigashira, the story making a sense here, right? The deer head of Mrigashira faces Rohini in the night sky. So it's something like Mrigashira is the deer who is actually the creator and running after running after Rohini, and then Shiva cut the head of the deer, right? Shiva is basically associated with Ardra Nakshatra. So the constellation of Orion, we observe as a whole, has always been regarded as an archer. So there are hundreds of tales of Parvati watching on as Shiva actually, used his archery skills to kill demons or demonic cities, or the head of Brahma, as we saw in the as we just now discussed. So Parvati watching on Shiva when Shiva used his archery skills. So the fact here is that Mrigashira is supposed to be Parvati's abode. So whenever you talk about Mrigashira Nakshatra, you talk about Ma Parvati, because Ma Parvati's Nakshatra is Mrigashira. It's Parvati's abode. It makes sense, as it gives Parvati the right vantage point to observe Shiva's adventures in his Rudra form. Also, the fact that Mrigashira can be seen either as a deer's head or an arched bow reveals the dual functioning of this nakshatra as both the hunter and the hunted. So, in all ancient cultures, Orion was supposed to be the abode of Prajapati. Prajapatis are the progenitors of all kinds of species inhabiting the universe, basically. So, in this regard, if you observe, Brahma is the original Prajapati, right? So, you can see in the above mentioned thing, just now we discussed, that is Shiva actually killing the deer. The deer is the form of Brahma. Shiva actually killed the deer because Brahma, which is in the form of deer, basically the Brahma, is actually running after Rohini, right? So there is strong connection between Brahma and Shiva here, right? Shiva killing that deer. So Brahma, however, seems to have shifted his abode to the neighboring Rohini. You can say that way also, right? So the continuous connection here, you can clearly understand. Mrigashira is a deer basically. So Mrigashira relates to the point where curiosity is born in the process of creation. If you think in terms of materialism, you can see that all motion in the physical universe, even in the atomic level, if there is any motion, it's all dependent upon a physical quantity known as heat. So Mrigashira is the initiator of Martian energy. It relates to the point in time where the temperature of the universe reaches the appropriate value for life to flourish. So Kritika is the fire, and Rohini became the earth. And then on the earth, you need to see the life. So to generate life on earth, again we need some heat. That heat is Mars, and that is Mrigashira. So heat and motion are the primary aspects of the planet Mars, and they have their roots in this nakshatra. So in terms of creation, the creation point of view as well, this is very much related. So this particular nakshatra is related to sage Pulastya, one of the seven celestial sages of seven celestial sages who are actually looking after our galaxy. So Pulastya means having smooth hair. So one can immediately understand that Pulastya has a strong connection with this soft, refined aspect of Mrigashira. Mrigashira is very tender and soft. So if anybody is suffering from bad effects resulting from afflictions to this nakshatra, the best remedial measure is to worship Ma Parvati. Worship of the moon is also favorable because Mrigashira's Lord is Soma, as the moon is related to moon as well, right? So moon is also very favorable for increasing. Moon is very good for increasing the favorable results of this nakshatra. So Om M is the mantra for this particular nakshatra. So whenever a person is facing bad because of the problems related to this nakshatra, they can chant Om M. And even the people having good positive energy can also chant this mantra. And red, white, green, light, bright, sparkly shades all are generally good for Mrigashira. And if you see the famous classical composer George Frederick, he has his moon in Mrigashira. He was in fact the only composer of his time who fashioned his work specifically around singers. So if you observe his music, it has a Mrigashira quality about it. So that's where some Mrigashira is associated with singers and artistic abilities. And according to Varahamihira, moon in Mrigashira is it can give fickle-mindedness because of that dear and clever, timid, shrewd, energetic, wealthy, and delightment and enjoyment. So most of these qualities are basically associated with Mrigashira. So Parvati, the presiding deity of this particular nakshatra, is supposed to have her moon placed in the Taurus part of this nakshatra. A lot of her qualities, as revealed by various stories, the Puranic stories, fit this description as well, right? So that's about Mrigashira nakshatra. So basically Mrigashira is soft, it's fickle-minded, it's a very, very jovial nakshatra, soft nakshatra, and basically Mrigashira is famous for disruption in marriage life due to misunderstandings. Mrigashira is clever, intelligent, fickle-minded. It's always about seeking and searching, seeking for true path of life, seeking for knowledge. So basically, Mrigashira is seeker, Mrigashira is deer, and Ma Parvati belongs to Mrigashira nakshatra. And it relates to the Soma aspect of moon. So Soma is another name given to moon, you can say. So Mrigashira is very much associated with the intelligence, the softness, the lightness, the timidity, fickleness, wandering behavior. So that's about Mrigashira nakshatra. Thanks for watching this video.